welcome back to my channel. A little sip of coffee before I start today's video. Today is an exciting one because I'm jumping into some more culture shocks. I love these videos. They're actually my favorite kind of videos to film, and I've been loving filming so much more lately. So today is going to be, yes, more culture shocks, and they're going to be focused on rude Italian habits, quote unquote rude Italian habits, that were just really culturally different and things that I wasn't expecting. And these are so funny because until you're in another country, you don't realize how different cultures can be, and how different the other people in the cultures can act. And it's hard to understand it when you don't have someone to explain it to you, and it might be like really confronting or really confusing, especially when you're really new to it, like I was. I remember when I first got to Italy and some of these things would happen to me and I would just be like, oh my gosh, like they hate me because I'm Australian, what have I done wrong? And you know, you soon come to learn that this is just part of their culture, and these are completely based on perception. I'm not saying in any way that Italians are rude. I love Italians. They're some of my favorite people on this earth, and when I was there in Italy as well, I really felt myself adopting some of their habits and some of the things that I picked up along the way. Because when you're living somewhere for that long and when you're around certain people for a certain amount of time, you start to adopt their mannerisms and their habits, and cultural things and everything like that. So I really got used to it, and I actually grew to love it. So I'm gonna jump into the 3 things that really shocked me when I first got to Italy. The rude Italian habits explained. So the first thing, and this is quite a funny one, and one thing that I was really kind of startled by when I first started going out for dinner, was that oftentimes they won't do modifications on food for you, or if you ask for a certain modification on food, they'll kind of look at you weird or recommend you not to do something, or if you order a specific drink that's, you know, not culturally meant to go with your food, or not normally something that Italians do, they're not afraid to tell you. They're not afraid to say, no, we're not doing modifications. They're not afraid to say, no, it's not the authentic Italian way. They're very upfront and they're very honest. And this is for a number of reasons, but one main reason is because Italians are very passionate about their food. And I've talked about this multiple times. They've got specific ways they do things. They have a specific order they eat their food. And especially when it comes to tourists and restaurants, is that passion shines through. And they just want the tourists to have the authentic Italian experience. They want it to be a good Italian experience. They want you to taste the real food. They want you to taste all the real flavors, etc, etc. This was one thing when I first got there. I think I asked for a modification, like an ingredient, a couple of ingredients different instead of what was originally on the menu. And the waiter kind of looks at you like, really? Like, you really want to change that? Are you sure? And they'll be like, we don't really do that. Or they might just be really hesitant about it or something. And like I said, it's just because they're really passionate about their food. They want you to have the proper experience. They want you to taste it for what it is, the real dish, you know. So, and things like when you go out for a pizza, if you order a wine, they might recommend instead that you get a beer, because typically Italians drink beer with pizza and drink wine with pasta. It's not really the other way around. So they're definitely not afraid to tell you if you're doing something weird or strange or different, out of the ordinary, because they just really want you to have that authentic Italian experience. And the majority, if not all of the time, they know what the hell they're talking about. So listen to the wise Italians. They know best when it comes to food. The second thing, and this was something that really shocked me, and I was really kind of startled and taken aback by it, was that, okay, so in Australia, for example, when you're walking down the street and you accidentally bump into someone, you accidentally like brush past someone, a quick sorry or excuse me or something is just like second nature. And I think I actually say sorry too much. I should really work on that. And I know a lot of people are the same as well. But in general, that's kind of just like second nature to me. It's just my automatic response and reaction. Whereas in Italy, they are a lot more considered or discerning with when they say, you know, like please, thank you, sorry, excuse me, you're welcome, like all of those kinds of things. They really only say it if they feel it to be necessary. They're not just going to, you know, waste words on something that was like, you know, they brushed past you in the street. Unless they like really hurt you or something, of course they're gonna say sorry. But you know, like if they just brush you or like bump you in accidentally or something, they're not really going to acknowledge it. Obviously depends, like, you know, if it's an old person, for example, of course they will. But just in general, I noticed that they don't have that kind of automatic sorry, excuse me. And a lot of the time, if I were to say, oh, scusa, like scusi, or something like that, if I ran into someone on the tram or something, I don't know, just a random example, but they would just like not respond or not reply. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of just got used to it. But yes, they're very discerning with when they say those things. And it's not because they're being rude, it's just, you know, part of their culture. It's just how things are there. I guess it was important for me as well, like realizing my own societal conditioning and just how different cultures are conditioned in different ways. And it's not rude either way, but it's just different. The last thing, and this is probably the most universally known, I guess, Italians are very, very expressive. They're going like this all the time, you know, their voice is really loud, they've got a lot of character, and they're not afraid to talk over you. So me, coming in, being the introverted person I am, not only am I introverted, but, you know, like I was meeting some of these people for the first time sometimes, and you know, like I would be sitting back kind of like waiting for a gap in the conversation to say whatever I wanted to say, or whatever, and you'll come to realize that there are rarely gaps in the conversation. Like if you don't jump in, you're probably not going to get what you wanted to say said. So in a lot of aspects of Italian culture, you kind of have to be a little bit pushy to get what you want, I guess, or to say what you want to say. It's the same thing with lines, with getting like processes done quickly. Like Italians must just be used to living their life like that, and just being like, what's the word, assertive. They're very assertive, and it's not them being rude. Like you could listen to a conversation with Italians and think they're having a fight, but they're literally just having a conversation. They're just very passionate, they're very enthusiastic, and I really actually love that about them, because even though I might not have understood all of the language or all of what they were saying, by watching their expression and their tone of voice and the way they were kind of looking at you or how their hands were moving, you can really figure out what they're feeling and what they're meaning to say to you without even knowing the words that they're saying, because there's so many different ways that you can understand people, and especially when you're going to a new country. Even though I did know a little bit of Italian, so I did have that to my advantage, I obviously wasn't fluent. I'm still not fluent in Italian. I definitely understand a lot more than I did going into it. I still need to like read their body language, look them in the eye, and I rely a lot on their tone of voice and you know, how they're speaking, because that's one of the biggest ways that I understood people, especially when I first got to Italy. That was the only way that I really knew how, even though it is a stereotype. And I guess I kind of went to Italy thinking that that may have been the case, you know. You always have like preconceived ideas before you go to a place, or about something before you do it, but that was kind of just reinforced, and I was still taken aback at first, because I knew that I really needed to change the way I was in certain situations to like fit in and be able to I guess contribute to the conversation the way that I wanted to, without just sitting back and being like, and just listening, being like a passive part of the conversation. That was definitely a huge part of my growth while I was there as well, was learning to contribute a lot more and just listening and processing, but yeah, learning to contribute to the conversations a lot more. So that's the last thing I'm going to talk about, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love filming these kinds of videos because I really found them interesting before I went to Italy to watch them. People that were living in Italy as well while I was there that kind of reinforced the ideas to me and really made me think about it a lot more. So yeah, I love these kind of cultural videos. I hope you guys do as well, because I love making them. There's so many things to talk about, honestly. But yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm uploading a lot more frequently these days. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye.